Non-lethal. You lose.
Exploding compression bullets.
No one likes to show off.
Unless what they're showing off is dope as
That's true.
What's up, everybody? It has been a very long time since I've done a live stream. It's been like 3 weeks, and I hope the live stream looks good out there and that my microphone is doing some good stuff, because I'm not using the new OBS stuff that I'm been working on. So slowly but surely, I'm gonna move everything off of StreamYard, because $80 a month, that's ridiculous. Plus, I can do so much more with the other software, which is amazing, and it's free. But today on Show Off, this is going to be like, I'm going to say we're going to do kind of like a comprehensive tips, tricks, things to avoid, things that we liked about the garage shelf build. And we've got a special guest who I'm excited to have on here today. And let me just bring her in. You guys know her. You love her. It's Helen from Sixth Scale Shero. What is going on?
Hello,
I
happy
can't believe
Sunday.
my voice went up. My voice went, what's going on, everybody? Hi.
Oh, I laugh because I now and then and this is totally a compliment because I love Bob's Burgers, and now and then you sound like Gene, and I was watching Bob's Burgers last night, and I was like, oh, I'm streaming with Costa tomorrow. I wonder if he'll, when he's making his jokes, sound like Gene at some point. I love Bob's Burgers. It's such a great show.
Same here. I just like, I am, I've been trying to get into voiceover for years. So like, I know voice artists, and they have some of the best, actors doing, the voice in the voice cast there. So yeah, it's amazing. How are you doing? Like, how are you? Like, it's early in the morning where you're at. You got up early just to come and say hi and talk to us about building garage shelf displays.
I wanted to be on Show Off. So yeah, it's 7 a.m. Sunday morning. I'm going through my first cup of coffee, so hopefully I'm somewhat articulate by the time that sinks in.
I'm with you. I'm doing a late cup of coffee.
Oh.
But because
you've been you've been doing fun stuff at Comic-Con though, haven't you? You've been in New York.
That's what I was gonna bring up. I want to say, like, before we dive into the in-depth interview, because guess what, guys? I took notes and stuff from Helen's videos, and she's got some good stuff on there. I went to Comic-Con yesterday. It was the only day I could go, and I wish I could have gone all of the days, because everybody that I met, I loved being there. The crazy thing was, it was a massive group of us, and we all stayed together. Some people like came in and out, but we would just walk around and just talked the whole time. And whenever we wanted to stop, we stopped. But it was just like, I forgot about the two things that I signed up for to go see. I was signed up for like the SpongeBob 25th anniversary panel, and the What We Do in the Shadows panel, where they showed the first 2 episodes there. But I decided, you know what? I'm having too much time, too much of a good time hanging out with these people, that, you know what? I won't have this opportunity again for a bit. And, life is quick, and you just got to just live in that moment, and TV and other stuff, it'll be there. But yeah, like Collector Joey, Austin Nicholas, Evil Sneaker, Danny Spotchka. I met Lael previously. Jay, brother Cousins, second brother, Jay's mother, who actually knew who I was. That was great. I gave her a hug, and she's like, I'm not sure if you know me. I'm Costa. And she goes, I know who you are, Costa. And then when I gave her a goodbye hug, she goes, say hi to Randall for me. I was like, oh my god,
That's so cool.
how did I know that it's crazy?
God, she's got street cred. That's awesome.
Yeah, so she really watches these shows. Toya, Lael's significant other, Lumi. Met Lumi.
Yeah, I saw a group photo and I was like, wow, it's like a real who's who out at New York Comic Con.
So like if Miguel Toy Quest 101 was an amazing host. We so he had he was like giving out some prizes. So we went there. He gave us a raffle ticket. Oh, Henry, I forgot about 1/6 Syndicate. My
Oh, cool.
my cadre on Points of Articulation, which will be back next week. I needed this time to be able to decompress. But Miguel, he did these raffles, and we're there, and the first raffle was with an artist, and I didn't win. I believe I want to say Nicholas from Nick's Collectibles. He was there. I think his girlfriend won these art prints, which were amazing, from Sean. I forgot, Carlson. Maybe I feel bad now that I forgot. But then we went to PCS Collectibles, and everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna raffle off a statue." But they didn't raffle off a statue. There was a half ounce of silver coin from PCS, like it was a exclusive, and so Toya won that. It was awesome. Toya won that, and then Lumi just goes, "How about we do another raffle? How about we do another raffle?" So the owner, Anthony from PCS Collectibles, was like, you know what? All right, let's do another raffle. So I'm like standing next to this little Soundwave cell shaded figure from Generation 1, and I was like, how about you raffle off this little guy, because it's little, you can afford raffling this guy off, because all the other statues were massive. And he didn't hear me, but Collector Joey was filming this whole thing, so I got to get the film from him. And he whips out the Soundwave. He's like, you know what? We're going to raffle this off. I was like, oh my God, I called it. I look at Lumi. I go, oh my God, I called it. Did you see that? You know what? I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this because I called it. And I looked at Collector Joey and I'm like, I got to win, right? I'm going to win this. And then Miguel calls my number and I go, oh my God, that's me. That's me. And he's like, he thinks I'm joking, because I'm a joker. And I'm like, no. And I whipped out the ticket and I'm just like, oh my God. I was just like this freak out moment. And I could not believe that I called the statue, and then I called me winning it. And it's all on video. So I'm hopefully going to be able to put it up with the rest of the stuff. I want to do an unboxing of it. So yeah, amazing time yesterday. Oh, Calvin met Low Key Collector, met Thrawn's office. Also know Mike. You might have seen him. He had the for a while he had the joke name of Mike Litteris. Mike
Sure.
Litter. So
Yeah.
he's an amazing dude. Everybody was like, from top to bottom. I seriously miss like hanging out with these guys, these people. And yeah, it was a great time. Hopefully we can do it again, maybe at a different con. Maybe we can do something where we go to different parts of the world with conventions and meet the other people around the world. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, so that was my day yesterday, and yeah, I'm sorry I missed your first live. I didn't. That would have been pretty cool to see.
It's so so we've had a look. I've been available every Friday night because I'm sad, and then we're a Joelle and Christian. They're always late scratching. So I had joked to Joelle last week. I said, if you don't turn up, I'm just going to live unbox Mantis, and it's probably going to be a car crash, and that's probably going to be why people watch. And he's like, no, we're gonna stream. It's fine. And then he's like, next Friday is my birthday. And I went, mate, you watch. It'll be, oh, my wife has organized surprise dinner. I can't stream. and what do you think happened? He's like, no, because I'm always on the morning, like, let's confirm, like, does Helen get to go to sleep or does Helen stay up? No, we will stream. And then about like 6 o'clock at night, it's like, oh, I cannot stream because we have big dinner. And I'm like, I told you this was going to happen. So as I said, I very last minute was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing with StreamYard, but I have time and the spirit of Australia is give it a go. So I thought I'll give it a go. But I think I stuffed something up with my Wi-Fi connection and the video is a little bit choppy. So it's like a stream from 1999. But I appreciate everyone who hung out and put up with it and was still very complimentary to my first effort at streaming. I did learn quite a lot from that experience.
Well, I'm going to check it out because that's what popped up in my... I didn't realize that was the stream. That you did
no
the
one
Mantis
did
unboxing. So I'm definitely gonna have to look that up.
I was joking to Bob Dylan, like, do I call it like, Collector Abandoned? Is anyone even gonna know? Because it's on my channel, and as I say, it had all of about an hour's promotion. And everyone's like, oh, where's Christian and Joao? It's like, oh, it's what I'm asking too, everyone. But as I said, gave it a go, and I just figured, well, if I end up in those no-show situations and I've got something that I can jibber-jabber to, then I'll go live on my channel.
You just reminded me of something that I didn't do for this stream, so I hope it's coming out not choppy and everything. But normally when I host a stream, I hook it up to the Ethernet and not do it over Wi-Fi because it's going to be a better quality. Now I'm hoping it looks good out there for everybody.
Well, that was my thing, because my it's called NBN in Australia. Like, the box is on the other side of the house, but I think what I didn't realize was when you're hosting the stream, I think it's obviously a little bit more resource intensive on your internet connection, because I've only ever turned up and just been a guest. So yeah, as I said, many lessons learned.
Yeah. Listen, it's like anything. It's like putting vinyl border on. The more you do it, the better you get. It's practice, baby. It's practice. But let's say hello to the chat real quick, and then we're going to take our deep dive. I'm trying to think, do I have anything else that I want to say before we even start? But Rocket Man Chris, what's up, Chris? It's been a while, my friend. You're off today, and you can actually... Awesome. Welcome. The Bro Collector, what's up? Oh, I missed, there we go. Welcome back. Thanks to RK Maroon and Ed R. Hey, Casa, I saw you on the fig. Is that up? Is there like a video of that? That'd be cool. I'd like to see that. Bob Dylan. Oh man, this dude. His collection and his, how he goes deep into those customs. Well, I know you got to see him in person. That's lucky. Lucky because you didn't come to Philadelphia, but whatever. I mean, I get it. Florida's sunny and, it's better weather, I guess, and beaches. I mean, he lives near the beaches, so, yeah.
The humidity, though, is insane. Like, I knew it would be humid, but, like, I think I was there for 4 or 5 days, and every second day there was just, like, a thunderstorm because of the way the humidity builds up. So it was a lot, but I had a great time. It was great to meet Bob.
So great time slot. So maybe I should do my streams later, but before Mafia stream. Huh. Thanks for pointing that out, Bob. And Bob also said that they have Tim Tams at the local shop. So he thinks you influenced them.
I'd be interested to know how much they're selling them for in America, because imports, whatnot, but Tim Tams are like I'm
looking them up.
It's a very iconic Australian chocolate biscuit, and because I was away for 6 weeks, and so we're Greek, like you are never received without a gift, right? You always go somewhere, you present a gift, and because I was gonna be in the US for 5 weeks before I got to Bob. And also I was going through like Arizona, which was like 117 degrees. I was like, Tim Tams either won't survive the heat or me. in 5 weeks. So I had sent this box off ahead of time to go, hopefully this makes sense why I'm sending it ahead of my arrival, because these will not survive in one way or another. So I've gotten another American addicted to Tim Tams,
So
which I'm proud
I
of.
did look up Tim Tams, and we have them at our Target here in Philadelphia
Oh,
for $5.39 for a pack of. I don't
are
even.
they a normal
what's this?
packet or like a US size packet?
7 ounce. 7 ounces. I don't know how many even. Why can't they say how many cookies are in these? Or are they biscuits? Do you guys call them biscuits, or you call cookies
Well,
biscuits? Or
I mean, you know, we're a British colony, so we tend to say biscuits, but cookies, like, because the, you know, the New York style cookies are all the craze everywhere. So
here,
it's a bit of both, but most people would say biscuits.
here, I'll put them up on the screen real quick. We're having some fun here right now,
We're
guys.
learning
We're
about
having some
Australia.
fun.
It's great.
Yeah, we're doing some. So this is.
Oh, that's a standard packet. You'll get about maybe 10 or 11 biscuits in that.
And not only do we have the chocolate, but there is the mint.
Oh, mint
Dark.
slices. Oh, no, mint Tim Tam. Okay, nice. Because we also have mint slice, which is a different one. But yeah, Tim Tams now have many line extensions, as they call it in the snack food industry.
Australia's #1 chocolatey cookie. So there we
It
go.
is.
And I can pick it up within 2 hours if I want.
So Costa,
they'll still be open.
if you buy Tim Tams,
Yeah.
the thing Australians always get people to do with a Tim Tam, and you'll get addicted, and I'm not sorry. So what you want to do is you want to make a hot drink of your choice, coffee, tea, whatever you like. And what you then do is, because a Tim Tam's like a rectangle, you want to bite off the opposite corners of a Tim Tam and then drink your hot drink through the Tim Tam. You're welcome. It's called a Tim Tam Slam. And I'm very proud that I told Christopher Lloyd what a Tim Tam Slam was at a convention. And he was very sort of grumpy. And he had Tim Tams. And I was like, oh, I hope someone's told you about a Tim Tam Slam. And I explained it. And he literally stopped mid-autograph and was like, that sounds amazing. And I was like, do it.
I am
Do it,
putting
Doc.
it on my shopping list because I am going to want to try the Tim Tam Slam. So I'm going to put Tim Tams on my list called shopping. So if I was to tell Google to put this on my list, I have mine set to British. And she will say,
oh, nice.
we will put Tim Tams on the list called shopping. So yeah, I'm gonna try that because
Let me know what you think.
That sounds delicious. Don Pepe, what is up? I cannot see my screen. Hold on. Let me get my old man glasses. What's up, Costa? I want to see the Soundwave. Oh, I'm going to do an unboxing of the Soundwave. Definitely, because I want to do something, to promote PCS. So that's what we will do. But Don Pepe said, I want to see the Soundwave. I have a small resin cell shaded G1 Soundwave from PCS. I also have the Optimus Prime Shockwave. I have the Optimus Prime. So this is the one that goes with that Optimus Prime. It has rumble. It's like this big. It's not too big. So yeah. Also, Don Pepe says the reddish strobing lights on those Star Wars floating shelves are freaking cool. Thank you. This is you can learn how to build these. You can do a billion different things for those. So yeah. But they're on the live stream. But I am making videos for them because I'm learning. And as Helen has pointed out to me previously, also I should put all this stuff in a video because more people are going to watch it in a video and not on the live stream. So yeah. Hello, Gurgamus, my man. I want everybody, please send out positive vibes to Gurgamus. He is an amazing dude, and you can actually go back to some of the display showcases and see his stuff. He's built some amazing shelves, and yeah, please send positive vibes to Gurgamus. What's up, Blitz? Let's see. Yes. Miguel has it on it. Oh, awesome. Louis Labitz, what is up? Hello, my friend. Let's see. William Nelson. If you haven't seen the previous live stream, I showed William Nelson came up with an amazing thing for the platform. He made it into a boxing ring, and it's awesome. The caramel ones are the best. They have caramel Tim Tams. Do they?
I'll send you a package if you like. They've got a lot of variations. There's ones with double coats of chocolate. There's dark. There's white. There's mint. There's caramel.
Oh my God! Look, now we're all. I didn't realize I opened up the Tim Tam vault of like so much about. There's a perfect amount. You are satisfied, but all right, yeah. Tim Tams are. I will bring home the chocolate ones. And I'm thinking either my coffee or possibly hot chocolate. I don't know. We'll I don't know
Let
if
me
that's
know what you think.
Yeah, Tim Tam Slam sounds like something Diddy came up with.
Goodness.
And lots of Lou. We call it an Aussie Oreo, and we use milk. Oh man, you guys are making me really want to get Tim Tams. Because that sounds amazing. Don Peppa, it is the same one thing. Oh, okay, cool. The same. You need more videos, Costa, but make them reels. This is your display if you scroll. He's funny because Randall's doing one of those videos. It's going. I'm working on a. You know how the guy's like, this is the figure when you scroll, but it's going to be a little different because Randall's doing it, and it's gonna. I'm gonna make it funny. It's like if people want to use the voice, whatever. But it's gonna be funny. Randall's gonna be a part of it. It's gonna be well, who was this? Bob, you need video. Yeah, all right. And then good evening. What's up, friends? Good evening and good morning to everyone. And congrats, Costa, on the PCS. Thank you, Renz. All right. So let us go into the garage shelf display. You know what? Let's not do that because I want to ask you first. Did you get anything new this week that you would like to show off?
I got two things this week, which is not common for me to get two things. I got Mantis, where there's a horrible quality unboxing on my channel. And I got a second Yelena Belova figure because I plan to destroy it as part of a kit bash, which I have no idea if it's going to come off. It's very ambitious on my part. I'm literally destroying 2 hot toys to try to make this. And it could go horribly wrong, but I'm going to give it a go.
What are you which look are you trying to go for?
So, in Hawkeye, Yelena has that sort of black outfit. And when I looked online, there was some concept photos of her stealth suit. And then another collector, Anthony from Figure Posing Channel, kind of pointed out that it looked a little bit like the Night Monkey suit from Spider-Man 2. And I was like, oh, hang on, maybe I could do something here. And I had originally thought, because the Spider-Man being a teenage figure, maybe it would be as simple as just doing a head swap, but there was a bit of a difference in the bodies because Yelena is quite a short figure. So I was like, no, I'm going to have to literally, I've taken the outfit off Spider-Man, which was interesting, taking apart this hot toy, and Bob helped me with some advice, so thank you, Bob. But now I've finally got Yelena, so now I need to try to mod the Spider-Man outfit to Yelena's smaller body. And I don't know how that's going to go, because do I know how to sew? Absolutely not. Why would I want to know how to sew? Yeah, little tiny stitches.
The little outfit too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting because what I kind of learnt from the Spider-Man suit is that they often use the belts to hide the seams and things like that. But given the Yelena figure is going to have shorter legs and shorter arms, I'm like, oh, I probably didn't think this out well. But as I said, I'm going to give it a go and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that I'm hoping you're like, are you gonna like document your progress and yeah,
That's the
definitely.
plan. I probably didn't take as many photos of the Spider-Man as I should have, but now I've got
Hmm.
Yelena. I'll try to document as much as I can. And Bob's also given me some ideas for different ways that people do it, because my whole idea in wanting to have the stealth Yelena is because then I can pair her with Kate Bishop, because having like snowsuit Yelena with Kate Bishop didn't really feel like a good pairing, whereas I thought if I can get something that looks more like her look in Hawkeye, then I could pair her with Kate Bishop, and I thought that would look
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome. Like even trying a kit bash or doing any kind of customization, that is just like such a task. I'm like building one of these is easier than trying to do a custom kit bash. So um also, I forgot to say, guys, if you got something new this week, let us know. What's your show off for this week? So, a couple of other questions I wanted to ask, because I'm not sure if you probably have done it in one of your videos, and I'm blanking at the moment. But what got you into like 1/6 scale figure collecting?
I haven't done this. I it's funny because I'm always when I do my videos, I'm like, should I introduce myself? Should I talk about myself? Does anybody care about that?
No.
So I haven't really talked about myself and my
Hmm.
collecting on my own channel. So I guess with Sixth Scale, the way I sort of discovered it was more through statues. So I used to collect, like DC Collectibles used to do Sixth Scale statues back in the day.
Yeah.
And so before the statues, everything I collected was more smaller things, that's what I could find, because we don't really have a lot of, I think, with the price differences in exchange rates, you unfortunately don't always find a lot of stores that will readily stock the more expensive figures. So
Yeah.
we used to have this amazing toy shop, comic book store hybrid in the city here. And I used to go there, after work on a Friday night and browse around. And that's where I saw they had the set of 3 Sixth Scale statues for the Dark Knight Rises. So they had Batman, Catwoman, and Bane. And I just thought they were the most incredible things ever. I was just like, oh my God, these are so great. To me at the time, it's like, oh, they're a bit pricey. They were so not pricey. And I was like, oh, let
Compared to
me
now,
let me
yeah.
have a think about this. Let me see what I think. Let's not impulse buy. But I just couldn't get these statues out of my head. And like for the next week, I just have this panic of someone's gonna buy one and I'm not gonna have the complete set. Like I've got to go get them. And it was so funny because the store was like upstairs in a building. And I was like, how am I carrying 3 statues down some stairs? Like and I was like, oh, like our work had like a trolley. I thought I'll take the trolley. And I was like, oh, it still might take 2 trips. I got to take someone with me. So I remember asking my manager at the time to come with me. And the look on her face when it's like these statues, and I'm like beaming, and she's like, really? You dragged me here to buy like whatever this is. Um, but I loved
Oh
them. Like
man.
I thought they were amazing, and I liked the statues because they obviously were pre-posed. I didn't really have to do much with them. But they were also frustrating because it didn't feel like a lot of them got produced. And in trying to research and find more of the statues, that's where I sort of came across Hot Toys. But they felt really intimidating to me. I'll be honest, all the swap out parts, what if I break them? They were at a much higher price point than the statues I was buying. But
Yeah.
like speaking of conventions, like our big convention here in Australia is called Supernova. So that goes to a lot of the major capital cities, and Pop Culture, who a lot of people probably know now, they exhibit at all of the Supernova conventions, and they always have an incredible display of Hot Toys and busts and this and that. And like I really wanted to get something Iron Man because I'd been getting into the Marvel movies, and I bought what seems like a silly choice, but I think it made total sense to me, was I got the Mark 42 Power Pose because I really liked that suit, but also having the pre-posed parts, it felt like a good gateway drug, let's say, into Hot Toys, because it didn't take a lot of effort to get it looking really good. Um,
Yeah.
and then when I got that and I felt comfortable with that, I started looking at, well, what else is there? And as soon as I discovered how much Dark Knight stuff there was, it was like, okay, Hot Toys is sort of where it's at if we want to have a nice Dark Knight collection. And I was only going to collect the Dark Knight stuff, Costa, but, you know, here we are.
Yeah. Marvel, you got your A-Force going.
Yeah.
You got... So which one was your first, like, actual hot toy? Like, if you were, you just said that you started with the Dark Knight collection. Which was the first hot toy out of those that you bought?
The first Dark Knight one was the DX12.
Okay. All right.
So we started.
You heard it here
there,
first,
and then,
people.
and then it was the DX1, and slowly building
moving
it
up.
out from there. But I was kind of lucky that was at a time where some of the stuff was still just retail, like the Gordon and Blake 2-pack. That was something that I was able to pick up from pop culture. So I was sort of... Some stuff I had to sort of hunt in the secondary market, but some stuff was still, I could just get it from shops.
And I just wanted to point this out, that Don Pepe also wanted to thank you because he reached out to you. And this is one of the things that I did not expect would happen, but building a community where, like, I think that making a display case is just as important as having if you're going to have your figure, you want to have it displayed, nice and how you want it. And that's just part of it, and how we can help each other make our figures shine and feel good about them. And I love the fact that we talk to each other, we help each other and do that. And that's why I love the fact that you made those videos, which is amazing, because I can't cover everything. Other people might cover their trials, their tribulations. Other people have their things. And and people should definitely check out your videos, because
thank you.
Very, very informative. And they're very good. Cobra's Collection, welcome. Hello, hola. And then I saw this. Don't laugh. I'm not laughing at you. But after a year, I finally got my I'm Knuff Ken that I'm building a custom Ryan Gosling out of. Dude, it's okay. Like, the Barbie movie was amazing. It's if a movie can make me cry, then yeah, it's very good. So, Bob Dylan is the chef of Sixth Scale. Let's see. All right. Ghetto Yoda is here. Oh, let's see. Get everybody here. Ghost Tub, Tim Tam plus warm tea is the best snack I've ever had. I guess I will do it with like just black tea, right? Are we? Because I love black
white.
tea.
However you'd normally drink your cup
I like
of
black
tea.
and green tea. I love.
Or
I
maybe
love
not green.
Nice, well, no, you can't do green with a chocolate.
No.
No. I'm gonna go with, if I'm gonna do tea, I'm gonna go black tea, because I do like. I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo here in the U.S., but I like to have milk with my tea. I know
that's very standard.
That's a normal thing other places. I do enjoy my
because
tea.
Black tea has that little bit of a texture to it, so I normally just put the tiniest bit of milk just to get rid of that texture to it. And
Ghetto Yoda has come by to say hi. Well, we'll see you on the replay, my friend. And that's Cobra's Collection talking to Bob, and Bob is an amazing dude. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that I thought was really cool that you did. Was one, you did a lot of research, like before you did, and that's the key. I think most people forget, like, you can go look at some videos, but like doing the research on the materials, how you want to do it. So, like, where did you start with that process? Was it like with the shelf itself and then you went on from there, or?
Yeah, so my biggest thing was trying to find something that fit the space I had, because this used to be a big CRT TV that's as big as I am, and I used to use it to play my Sega Mega Drive. So when I decided I wanted to you'd made the video and I'd wanted something for my vehicles for the longest time because my tumblers were just sitting on top of glass display cases, these ones. That's how the room started. And my tumblers were just sitting on top of that display case. So I just went, right, the TV's got to go. And as well, it was because the 89 2.0 was on pre-order. And I was like, I've got to have somewhere to house that. That can't be on top of a shelf gathering dust. So the TV went, I measured up the space and I was like, okay, I've got about 1.2 meters to play with. So I had the width, and then I just started researching the different garage shelves, and I went for one that's a bit taller because with the 1.83 meter unit, because again, I do a lot of searching on Facebook groups, and I just felt like a lot of people that had done those sort of 6-foot shelves, the visibility wasn't always great on the lowest shelf, or you'd have some shelves where figures might be a little bit obscured because those shelves are quite tall. So then I just started researching what were the shelving units available, and I found this one, which is I think it's 6 foot 10 inches for the people in the US. So it's huge. But then I thought with that, like I can. Sorry?
I was gonna say, I wish I would have because I don't know the height that you picked. Excellent. Like I wish, like 6 foot is really the only thing that's like available in like the the big box stores here. Yeah, a lot of the like taller shelves you have to get them online and shipped to you. So but it's great, and yeah, the whole visibility thing, especially if you're doing 24 inches deep. Yeah. So
I got lucky, and it was funny because we've got this big hardware chain in Australia called Bunnings. They stock these products, but I couldn't find this particular model. So I actually emailed the manufacturer, and they were like, no, we still make it. It might be a special order item. And so I went to Bunnings, and they were like, we're discontinuing that model. So I'm like freaking out because I'm like, that's the one I want. But thankfully, the person at the store was able to track down who still had it in stock. So I did this sort of quick dash to buy it because my whole thing was, I know I'm doing this. I know this is the size I want. I'll buy the shelving unit and then I'll work everything else out later on. So that's where I started. I bought this and I went, well, the finer details of everything else can be developed. We just need to get this shelf because this is the right size.
Yeah, and one of the in your build video, one of your things that you wish you would have I believe you wish you would have looked into more is that or told people about is that there are different types of shelving units. There are really like two types. There's the ones like this where you have, I don't know if I can get if you can see how the holes, the frame, you can see the holes, and then you have
I was going to say,
rivets.
If you could scroll down a little bit, the one I bought also has these connector plates in the middle.
Yeah, this right here.
Because it is so tall, because some of the shelving units have like an internal pin mechanism, but this being so tall, it had the external plates, and that's the kind of stuff that I hadn't even considered because even I wanted to put my shelf where that plate was, and you're technically not meant to do that. So we had to do a bit of hacking to do that. But then in doing that, this is where, you're then needing that greater amount of depth from the magnetic tape to get a flush connection from the acrylic. And this is all the stuff I hadn't thought about. I was like, a strip of magnetic tape, but I'm not going, well, no, the magnetic tape needs to have the depth to clear a plate that was already coming off the profile of the cabinet. But because I've then opened it up to put the shelving unit in, that's now even more raised from the shelving unit. As I said, which is a problem that I made, but I just had no consideration as to what the knock-on effect of that would be. So that's where I just wanted to share looking at the shelving unit because, as I said, I hadn't even considered what I was doing and what that would implicate later on in the build.
Yeah, and I wish there was thicker magnetic tape because that's why I doubled up on it. So yeah, and people, I had no idea there were two different style shelves either. Like when I built it, it was a while before when people were like posting shelves and you saw a smooth front, and that's what this other I have. Both my cases are one's one of each. When you see it in the background, it's in um you can do like at the moment you can do more with this case, the one with the holes showing, but eventually I found a solution to do more with the other one. But yeah, this is uh I'm glad I mean, you're saying they discontinue it. Did they not do they not have one this height anymore, or is it just like an under a different
So it's
uh
the width, and it's funny though because they were like,
oh
"Oh, we're discontinuing this," and then I went to Bunnings before Christmas, and they had the biggest
yeah.
stack of them, and I was like, "I thought these were discontinued," and the teenager working there just looked at me. But they still have a 1.5 meter one, which is
Okay.
readily available, and I'm guessing that the 1.2 is something that maybe is just a seasonal one that they don't always have in stock.
True. Yeah. So 1.2 is what, 36? It's 3 feet, right? If we're gonna
I think
no, 1 meter is
I think it's around 4
3.3
feet,
feet.
maybe.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The metric system. So many comments about the metric system. How it's
I love that you did millimeters though, because like when you watch a video and it's like it's 3/32 of an inch, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Whereas a millimeter
I
is such a
know.
precise, tiny measurement. Whereas these fractions
It
of inches, I'm like, you know, don't
Somebody
comprehend it.
called me a communist because I was using
Goodness
using
me.
or like I'm a real American. We don't use the metric system. Like, dude, it's so much easier. And go back and look at the history on why we don't have the metric system. It's dumb. Um, but so yeah, so the taller unit does help with the visibility and especially with the depth. If you have anything that's 24 inches or what was the depth on this one? If I'm gonna do it
Mine's
in
54
millimeters,
centimeters. 54
1200 millimeters.
centimeters.
All right. So yeah, there it is. 54,
Yeah.
540 millimeters or 54 centimeters, or 24, around the 24-inch mark. You definitely you want to have like a wider opening, and that's what you did. You wanted the taller one so you could have the wider opening. um I cheated. I put the acrylic shelf on the bottom, but that raises the cost, and anyway, it raises the costs of it, and sometimes people don't want that. So yeah, taller one. That's
Yeah.
something I wish I had the option of that, and that's great. And here we get a nice little before you put it all together. You put the shelf itself together. Looks like you're like marking out where you want your stuff.
Yeah, and
Uh,
this was the real definitive point where I realized I had to put the shelf where I wasn't meant to, where the connector plate was. So I spent a lot of time just
oh,
configuring the shelf heights and trying to work out if I was happy with them. So
I
I would rearrange the shelf heights and then kind of sit with it for a while. But this was where I kind of was like, as I said, I'm technically not
yeah.
meant to put a shelf in the middle bit, which is very different to the shorter cases that have the pin system. They want you to put the shelf in the middle, like for structural integrity. But with mine, you're not meant to. But I had it before the plate, after the plate, and I kept coming back to no, like I need it where it's not meant to be. And we've made it work. But I think, as I said, I probably spent too much time planning, but I would definitely say if you know what you're going to display or the heights of the different things, I really am glad that I spent some time rearranging things and making sure that I was really happy with the height, because with the bottom shelf, I made sure that I gave that more vertical height so there's a good viewing angle. And if you're standing in front of the display, you can see the entire camo tumbler. Like none of that is obscured because of the shelf.
And I just noticed something that I would say it's an easier upgrade. If you look at your shelves, you just lopped off the corner. And
It came
why
like
didn't?
that.
Oh, what?
So
That's-
this is the other advantage of the Pinnacle shelving rack is that all of the
Oh.
shelves, each corner is pre-cut out. So it was really a benefit. Because again, having seen your videos, and I know you cut out the notches, but with the Pinnacle
Yeah.
shelving unit, all 4 shelves
That is.
have a sort of triangle cutout. So you've already got that done for you, which is pretty cool.
And when I just saw this, I was like, you know what? I could have just cut an angle on the thing and it would have taken care of everything.
They just
Guess what?
straight
That's
line
going
off
in
the
the
corner.
update. Yeah, that's going in the update. Duh. Listen, when I was making this, I was just going building as I went, and the only reason why it was even filmed was my wife. She's like, "You should film it, and people will like it." And I'm like, "I don't want to be the display case guy. I want to be the Sixth Scale, the Sixth Scale review unboxing guy." But here we are, and my wife was right. So there's that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to add that to the thing to just cut the corner on an angle, and that's it. I mean, you're not gonna see it in where I put the lights. So yeah,
you
that's,
don't because it's sitting in the frame of the shelving
Yeah.
unit, so you don't even see it. So as I said, that was just a happy coincidence of the shelving rack. It wasn't a feature I looked for, but then when we sort of unpacked it and set it up, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like this is already done for me. So that was a nice bonus.
So I'm gonna a little preview of a question in the future. Your cable management.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was brilliant. But we'll
Yeah.
stay tuned, guys. We're gonna get to that because but let's talk about your back panels. Okay.
Sure. Yes, everyone's very intrigued about the ACM. Yeah.
All right. So this is aluminium.
Composite
which is
material, yes.
Crazy. And it already comes in Australia. It already comes in the the right height, or did you have to cut it?
No, it gets cut, and I guess I was very lucky that I knew about this product because a collector that I know in Australia, he actually has a signage business, so he knows about all this stuff. And when I did the black matte backdrops on my other display cases, I've got a couple of detofs you can't see. With the way the detofs are, you can just take the lid off and slide a piece of the ACM with the matte black vinyl on it. You don't actually need to apply it to the glass like I've done with my other cabinets. So with the garage shelving unit, because I wanted to match the aesthetic of what I already had, because I was like, look, I've got 3 different display cabinets. That doesn't bother me, but I want to have a consistency with the matte black vinyl and the lighting. So I was kind of lucky that I had some off-cut pieces, and that's where with that previous photo, I went, hang on, could ACM just fit here? So what I did was I kind of moved the wooden shelf as forward as it was come, and then I discovered I could just sit the ACM there, and I left it there for a few weeks, and it still just stood upright. So that was really good because I was like, okay, I can do a similar approach to what we did with the detofs, where we can get the ACM, we can get that covered in the matte black vinyl. But I did mount it with some tape just along the top because I just didn't want to risk it coming apart. But yeah, the ACM is the back panels is I think 3mm, and it fits very securely between the wooden shelf and the garage frame.
Now, when you talk about wrapping it in vinyl, is it like vinyl wrap or is it adhesive vinyl that you comes in?
So it's like a wrap, and again, this is where I'm very lucky that my friend did this for me. So he's a professional signage person. He does this.
Yeah, it looks great.
He does this every day. So if I did it, it would have water bubbles and be very tricky. So I was very fortunate that
Okay.
I got the panels through him. They were pre-cut and he wrapped them in the vinyl for me. So that is a big step. And it's interesting because people think that this is just the ACM sheet, and you can get ACM panels that have a vinyl look to them. But I tried them in the past and I found that even the matte one had a bit of reflectiveness to it that I didn't really like, the way the kind of light bounced off it. I didn't like it. Whereas with the matte black vinyl that I'm using on the top of the ACM, I feel like it just kind of distributes the light and filters it out a little bit better. So you can get ACM that has it already on. But as I said, trying to match what I had with the other cabinets, and we'd used the ACM. So I've seen Peter do it, like, because on my glass cabinets, we've applied it straight to the back. So it's just a sheet and he sort of has the solution, he sprays the glass and he sort of applies it on like that.
Yeah, and if people want to actually try to use, like, you can just get like car wrap, which is the same. I'm guessing it's the same thing because it's vinyl. Amazon,
possibly.
you can, yeah, it's put on with like solution, and you anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
you
the
can get,
vinyl contact paper as well. Like if you're good at
yeah,
that, you could potentially
yeah.
use that as well.
That's I'm even in the camp that's hard to do a big, huge, large sheet like this in one big sheet of sticker vinyl, you know.
Quite
But yeah, this
possibly.
looks amazing. And real quick, let's say hello, Lumi. Lumi, I miss you guys already, Lumi. You guys, it was such a fun day yesterday. So I'm just, yeah, you guys are awesome. Hopefully, we'll get to meet more. I'll get to meet more of everybody as we go on. And one of the other things about your back panels, which I didn't think of, because I was going for more of like, if you want to like change your stuff out type thing. And somebody asked me, I think last week or while I was at Disney World, so that was 2 weeks ago. Can I use double-sided tape to keep the back panels on if I'm not going to remove them? And I was like, damn it. Why didn't I think of that? And that's what you did.
Well,
You double.
I had the benefit of my friend and his signage expertise. So when he helped me with do my detox, because the detox are that black brown, right? So if
Yeah.
so the wooden parts would not match the matte black vinyl, and so we did a couple of pieces of the ACM, and he just got this one bit of tape and he stuck a piece of ACM to the roof of the detox, and I'm like, I feel this is going to end horribly. He didn't say this, but I was like, was nervous about this. But it's been about 3 years and that thing has not budged. So I asked my friend Peter, I said, look, this mounting tape that you're using, what is it? Like, this is what I want to use. Because if it's hanging a piece of ACM, vertically for how many years and it's not budged, like, this is some good stuff. So I did get
That
quite a high quality mounting tape that is used for signage. And as I said, you've got the bit of the shelving that's very flat. So I just ran it across there. We put the panel in place and we just held it there for the tape to adhere.
Yeah, that's a great idea for anybody that wants to do back panels. You do not have to use magnetic tape. I used it because I've already done some changes, but great idea with the double-sided tape to keep the back panels in, because a lot of people that are building these, once they're done, you're not going to move anything. So you figure out your right heights and stuff like that. So that, I thought that was I'm like, duh, why didn't I think of that? But that's it's in your build video, and that's how you put this together. And yeah, that was great. And then you put in your shelf here just to get that, look, to see if it fit. And yeah, I mean, so, and the other interesting thing that you did is you decided you didn't want to cover your shelves like with the fabric, and you just took the sheeting that you use for the back panels and made the same thing and laid them on top of these. And if you want to look like that, this is one of the ways to do it. I think you get that sleek look, where if you have like the velvet or something else, it looks different. Plus, it's easier to clean than velvet.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, because as I said, my biggest thing was trying to match the aesthetic. So even though my cabinets were a collection of different things, having them look uniform, and my biggest thing was, and I mean, everybody's going to build this the way they want, and I do
Exactly.
not criticize as the choices that people made. I
Yep.
noticed though that a lot of people, like, you made yours and you were using like the marine leather, and I could definitely see that material had a weight to it, and once you ironed it out, it was looking very smooth and schmicko. Whereas I think because a lot of people then started using thinner materials like the bed sheets
Yeah.
and whatnot, um, I just kept seeing so many that were very wrinkled and didn't have that same sort of professional finish. And I think, the materials that you're choosing will have a big impact on the final finish. And I'm with you. Like, I'm kind of like, I invest in how I display as much as what I collect, because I want my figures to be presented in the best way that I can. So I know using the ACM and the vinyl was probably a lot more expensive than some of the choices that people have made with fabric, but I didn't have to sit there ironing stuff. Nothing looks wrinkled. It is super easy to clean. I just microfiber cloth and it's done. So these were the choices I made, because I kind of went, I'm putting vehicles in these. I want this cabinet to look awesome. So because the wooden shelf did sit quite flush in the shelving unit, that's where I kind of went, I think I can just sit the ACM panel on top, because
Mm-hmm.
I think to cover the wooden shelf in the vinyl would be very hard, because is the wood going to be
Oh,
entirely
yeah.
smooth? Is it going to have issues? How's it going to apply? So what we did was we used a thinner ACM. So we just used like a 2mm one. And then what I asked my friend to do was just to front wrap it. So the cut of the ACM that would be visible to the eye, have the vinyl going around that, so you weren't going to see the vertical cut in the ACM, because it would look pretty raw and unfinished. So these were all the little things that you kind of had to think about. And then what we did as well was I just had my friend, just for the top right hand corner, he then matched the notch that was cut out in the wooden shelving unit. So for the other three corners, it goes straight into the edge. But for the corner I knew I was going to run all my lighting cables, we've just matched that same notch. And then that just lets me have that space to run all the electrical cables.
Yeah, I like, again, I'll reiterate that the videos, like whatever I put out, whatever other people put out, it's a starting point. And you're gonna customize it to whatever makes you happy, because that's the point of it. It's something, that makes you happy. And you might get ideas like this. I think if you want to do something like this, brilliant. So yeah, I love it, especially when you're doing Batman vehicles and you're doing Batman, because like the velvet would have a contrast with the back panel, so yeah, it's great, and it's a great tip. And then Chris mentioned that there is color core plastic sheets. So yeah, you can get like the PVC sheets in any color that you want if you want to go crazy. Which, there's I believe Blue Tattoo has different color panels in his. They're like he has a blue shelf and a red shelf, which is, it's very interesting to me to do something like that, something different. Um, so yeah, and I didn't realize you can etch stuff in them. So that's another good thing to know. If you want to put designs on the back of your on your back panel, I guess you can. If you go to a I think he sent me the link. I'll pop it in a second. But yeah, that's there's so many new materials that I've been learning about and finding. I mean, like once you start building this, things come up, and the plastic place that I work with has new stuff, and they know my channel and stuff now that they're showing me some of their new technology, which is great. And I wish,
cool.
Which is one of the disadvantages we will talk about later, is everybody not having the same access, to the same materials at the same price or the same thing. So, yeah, let's move. I'm trying to move on so we can get this in before Mafia stream, because I don't want to like cross over there. Let's see, what did Don say about wiring management? I recommend getting the thinnest wire covers in black, and they look super sleek. Yeah, that's I've started Don Pepe. I've been looking at them, some new wire covers to do the wires I did for the new lights so that they're hidden. So that's a good tip. Thin ones, you can do ones that hold one. But we're gonna show. Next coming up is Helen's wire management, which like it's such a economical, money saving thing. And if you already have it, why not use it in that sense? Welcome, comic book enthusiast. Thank you for being here. And then what does Chris say? I can't see. Oh, I did that one already. I did it already. But I want to say, what is that? Velvet? Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Blitz, for putting that up there. All right. So, let's I don't even know if I have a picture of your I should have picked it up from there it is. There it is. So, wiring management. So you did your own custom lights. You had your brother help you, which is awesome, to make your own custom lights, because that's what we've been doing here for the last few weeks, making custom lights. And you use the extra aluminum channels and the cover to be your wiring management, because you just had that extra materials.
Yeah.
Was that your idea or your brother's idea?
Whose
idea was that?
It actually came from another collector. So my glass
okay.
cabinets. Because this is where I'm like, Facebook groups are your friends, everyone. Because the glass cabinets I have, which I laugh because I feel like the number one question in my videos are, what are those glass cabinets? And I'm like, I'm not talking about those. So they're called frameless display cabinets. So with the cable management, it's a bit tricky because where do you put them when you don't have a frame to hide things behind? And in one of the Australian Facebook groups, I saw someone had display cabinets just like mine. And I was like, oh, hang on, like he's done something a bit different with the cables, because I'd seen some people use those sort of cable covers like on the glass panels, and it looked messy. I'm like, if I'm going to do something, I want it to look amazing. I'm a bit fussy like that. So I reached out to this guy and was like, hey, I've got the same display cabinets. I don't suppose you'd share how you did this. And this is where, you talk about the generosity of the community. Like I've just found so many people are willing to share how they did stuff. And he was the one who said to me, well, actually what I did was I used the same channel, attached it to the sort of front side of the cabinets, and then used that to hide the cables. So I got that. I think his name is JF Hobby or Hobbies on Facebook, but he was the one who told me how he did it. I saw his display and it looked great. So we did that for the glass cabinets. So then it was just that natural, well, we're going to have to do some kind of cable management. And with the channels, they came in like a 2 meter length. I only needed it to be 1.2. So I was like, well, those offcuts then become the cable management for the rest of the display case. So I just it's a good way in this instance to use something that I probably wouldn't have had a use for or would have potentially thrown out. Or I don't throw things out, but I just think, sometimes you just got to be clever with what you have, and you've probably got something that can do that job. So with the lights, we've got, Mike, I don't know how to solder. I keep thinking I should learn how to do it, but my brother knows how to do it, so I use him. So we have used some heat shrink wrap around the cables, but then it's
right
just
here.
very neat to snap them into place with the corner channel profile, and then we've just used some of that mounting tape to stick it onto the garage frame.
Yeah, I like it. I have a lot of extra channel, so mine is messy at the moment, so I think I'm gonna steal this idea.
Well, and you don't
so
see it because
you
I had
can't you
Joelle
can't
going, "Oh, silver, why have you used silver?" I'm like, mate, no one's
you
seeing
can't
it
see
over
it
the border of the vinyl display. Like, if I didn't show you that photo, you wouldn't know that it's sitting there and it's silver. Like, you're never going to
at
see it.
all.
So,
Yeah, when you have that border covering up the frame, come on, Joao. Come on.
he's a
My
harsh
God.
critic. Oh, Joelle.
He's a very harsh critic. I took a little offense to him, not really, but I'm gonna pretend that it was drama right now. I took a little offense to him when he said that he can't see anything out of his bottom part of his case. And when I was like, that's why I use an acrylic shelf so I can see the bottom. He was like, no, you still can't. He's like, he still couldn't see it, and it's covered up. No, my stuff is covered up, but I can still see my '66 Batmobile from that
But
shelf.
you know what?
Joelle.
It's his room setup though, because he's got like
Yeah,
a
right?
couch and a coffee table, and there's not much room. Whereas I've got like my desk here, and then there's nothing impeding the cabinet. Because I was the same. I was like, what do you mean you've covered it up? You can't see. But I think it's just the layout of his room. So that's user error,
Yeah,
Costa. That's not anything you
yeah.
did.
Yeah, damn it. But tell he needs to know, like, if you can hide it, it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the beauty of
100%.
a lot of this stuff. It does not have to be perfect. You hide it, you don't see it. And that's why a lot of building this case is you're hiding stuff anyway. Like the bottom of the shelf, you hide it with a piece of you did it with the aluminum. Right? You put the piece of aluminum underneath the shelf, correct? Am I
Yeah, so for the top, and I probably
top,
should have
yeah.
done it for the second top. So this is the tricky thing, because the shelf the Avengers are on, if I'm standing, you can't see underneath the shelf. It's when I'm sitting and streaming
Yeah.
you can see. But for the inside of the top shelf, I've done the ACM, and that one I did tape to the wooden shelf. So with the others, I've just sat the ACM on top, because I thought, well, if I ever have to take this apart or if I ever change my mind, I can just lift that out very quickly. But for the top, I wanted that to have that sort of more finished look. So we've used that double-sided tape on the inside. So yeah, you can see it there. So just to give it that sort of nicer finish. But with the other shelves, you can't see the underneath, like the exposed wood, so I just left them as that. Could I have painted them? Maybe, but I didn't. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're all finished and you're just like, you know what, it's good. We don't need to play around with this anymore. It's good enough. It's good enough for me. But yeah, so moving on to our next thing, like, so acrylic sheets and putting on like the vinyl border. I know it's tough. In fact, I'm working on a video right now on trying to show you the perfect way. And your video brought up a lot of the same issues, especially with dust. I think dust is like the number one reason for your bubbles. So it's not air, it's the dust. And you you seemed frustrated. You were trying to convey your frustration. And I'm
it was all
sorry.
smooth
I
sailing till we got
apologize.
to the acrylic. Like,
to-
and then
yeah.
you had two fiery Greeks that both thought they were right about a lot of stuff, and it was
So,
it was
so you and your
interesting.
brother put it on together. And
Yeah, because it was just and it's funny because when I saw your technique on the live stream, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. But
okay, yeah.
because we started with the side panels, right? Because I went, look, the side panels, they're not really going to be visible. Let's start with those so we can get the technique right before we get to the front panels. So I have to say, once we worked out a technique that worked for us, we got a lot better. But some of those side panels, and when you think about 2.9 meters, like that's a long way to 2.09 meters. That's a long bit of tape you got to get right. So we kind of, maybe not the best way, but it worked for us. We kind of did it together where we'd drawn the line, and I actually used like my credit card to lay the tape flat. And then sort of my brother would help me guide along the line, but also would try to wipe the acrylic as we were going. But what you were saying about the dust, it's really interesting because when you're applying the tape, I feel like you can see those little things and you think they're a big issue. When you put the panels on the cabinet, I think because of the matte nature of the tape, like you hardly notice them. Like when they're in situ,
can't see them.
And that's the thing, because I feel like when you're doing it, you're like, oh my God, this looks terrible. Like, or there's like 4 things of dust. But when they're on the case, like I've not once gone, oh yeah, I can see 3 dust things. Like you just don't notice them as much. So I think in the moment, and until you kind of find a technique that works for you, it can be a bit tricky.
And this is actually how, like, Case's acrylic has vinyl tape. It's not anything that's
Well,
like.
and this is what I didn't realize till I met Bob, because that was the first time I'd seen Modular cases in person, and I always thought the front panels were in some kind of frame. And then Bob was like, no, it's like a border. Like I could scratch this off. And I was like, oh, interesting. Because as I said, I don't know why. I think because the way I've seen people snap them in place, it felt very, because I feel like I'm a wiggly mess with mine. But that's because, like I was talking to you about this, Costa, like the Modular case has like a little lip that you can kind of rest the acrylic on and then really snap it into place. So what I thought was a rigid frame wasn't. Like, I don't think there's a huge difference between their front panels and what we're doing.
No, there really isn't. And one of the things that you noted in your video, and one of the things that I've been behind with, like, behind as in supporting, because once you find a place that either specializes in acrylic, or even like the big box stores will cut your acrylic for you, don't cut your acrylic all yourself. I tried to make the video so that people wouldn't spend a lot of money, and when I was researching and calling the place that I use now for acrylic, I didn't realize that they cut it for free, and I didn't even ask them. I asked them for specific panels already cut, right? And how a plastic place works is, if you buy the full sheet and they cut it for you, you're just paying for the full sheet, and it's cheaper than having them do individual cuts. Because when I asked for a 25.5-inch wide cut, they're pricing me a 48 by 48 piece of acrylic, because the leftover, they don't know if they'll be able to use. So, like you say in your video, don't cut it. You don't specifically say don't cut. This is what you did. Have them cut it for you. Have the place cut it for you. I am sorry that I showed you, because I thought it was easy, because these guys that I watch their videos are like, score, 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 pop. That's not how it happens. That's not. It's
See, there's probably 2 things that go in my corner there. So one is I I remember my brother once thought he could build some like glass pyramid and it's so easy and I'll get this glass cutter, and I watched him not be able to cut that glass cleanly. So I had that in the back of my mind. But my view is always I'll pay a little bit extra for the convenience. So to have panels pre-cut, because I think in Australia you get, maybe they include a certain number of cuts and then after that it's maybe like $1 a cut. And I'm like, mate, to have something that's going to be machine cut, precision done, to pay a few extra bucks to have that, that's where I'm like, I know I will botch this. It'll be arguments. There'll be the two raging Greeks. It'll all end horribly wrong. I won't end up with a display cabinet. So I'm always like, I will pay the little bit extra because these guys, they cut acrylic every day. I've never cut acrylic in my life. So I was always going to get everything pre-cut. Because again, and I think it's a big time saver, because I think if I hadn't run out of the magnetic tape for my own reasons, we would have gotten this done over the course of a weekend. Because everything, like the panels were pre-covered in the matte black vinyl. We'd been through the lighting, having done it with these display cases. So we got through everything pretty quickly before we got to the acrylic. And that's where we hit some of the obstacles of, how do we get this tape right? Oh, hang on, we need more depth from the magnets. I thought I had a lot of magnets and then I ran out of magnets. So this is all this, like, the big learnings that I had. But I just, as I said, for me, I was like, I don't consider myself a very handy person. So I just felt like I'm going to, whether people think what I'm saying is useful or not, I'm just going to put all the things that were great, things that were tricky out there. And if it helps people, then like, that's all I really want to do. I just want to share what I've learned.
Yeah. It's, yeah, everything you said. Yeah. You want to show, you want to be able to build your thing, but also teach and learn new things. Like Bro Collector right here. I didn't realize there was velvet tape. And he says that it looks super clean and no worries of bubbles. Dude, send me the link. I'd like to check that out. I'm always looking for new stuff. Commander Green, what's up, dude? Welcome, channel member. And Leo Soto, welcome. Hello. So the other thing, when you were talking about your acrylic, which I didn't find out about until Joao did his, was the printing on the acrylic. And I went to my plastic people, and they're like, "Yeah, we do that. It's pretty easy." I was like, "What?" I was like, I could have had a fresh printed border around my acrylic already and didn't have to worry about it. And now I think I'm gonna go back and have them. I'm gonna get new front panels and have them all recut to see what it would look like. Plus I broke one of my panels. I dropped it out of my I had butterfingers, and it cracked the bottom. So I sawed off the bottom and redid the tape and everything. But there's a little gap, and that little gap is bothering me. So yeah. But anyway, the printed borders. Tell everybody about the printed borders.
Yeah, look, I was the same, because I guess I was kind of lucky that when I was doing my build, I was annoying Costa, I was annoying Joao. He'd been through the process as well, and he, same thing, was telling me about how he just got borders printed onto his. So I was the same. I didn't particularly realize that was an option, but I'd sort of bought the tape, I'd ordered the acrylic, so it was a little bit late for me, but I was the same. I did a little bit of research and found that no, there are places where I live that would print a border on them. So, I mean, again, that's where I'm like, I always feel like I'll pay for that little bit of convenience if it makes the job a little bit easier. But it's interesting because I haven't told you this, but I am, I'm considering making another cabinet. So if I do, I've got a decision to make, because if I print the borders on that one, I
You're
feel
gonna
like I'm gonna have to revisit the front panels at a minimum
you
of this. So we'll
you know
see what
you will
happens.
have to.
I
You're
probably
going
will.
to you
Yeah,
have to match them.
yeah, I
Like
have to.
you
So we'll
yeah,
see.
it's like
But
yeah,
the thing that surprised me though was I don't know what it's like in the US, but man, vinyl tape was flipping expensive in Australia, and thankfully I only needed one roll.
really? No, it's not
Yeah,
expensive here.
well, I had to go to some hardware store, and it's a funny story because it's meant to be like $85, and I got it for like 60
What?
something. Yeah, like it was the 2-inch matte black vinyl tape, but it was like I want to say it was like a 30 or a 33 meter roll. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I accidentally bought the 1-inch one. And then I was like, oh, I've made a
Oh.
mistake. So I went back to this hardware store to swap it. And long story short, they were like, look, our POS system, like doing refunds takes forever. Do you just want to take that other one and go? And I was like, it's more expensive. And they were like, please just take it and go. And I was like, okay, Merry Christmas, because it was literally right before Christmas. So I got
Okay.
mine for cheaper. But I was just like I don't know if that's just the Australia tax because everything is so much more expensive here, but I only needed one roll of tape. So if I'd had to buy a second one because of my own mistakes, I would have probably been a bit cranky pants. But yeah, this is my thing. If I do make the second one, am I going to do the tape again or am I going to get them printed? I'm not sure. Like, I know Lumi's asking the question about how opaque are the borders. And that's where I'd want to go check
They
it
are
out because I know another collector here in Perth has done a display case. And what he
mhm.
actually did was I think he's either taped or glued black sort of acrylic along the panels to create that effect of a border. Where I was like, oh, that's interesting. But my concern with that is that's adding a bit more weight to the acrylics, which I don't know that I'd want to do.
I will say that it's very opaque.
Oh,
I've
is it?
seen so not only can you can print anything on the acrylic. So if you want to have a very ornate border, you could do that. You could print I mean it's meant for they showed me a print that they did to make it look like stained glass. And, like, it was
Oh, wow.
incredible. Like, it looked like stained glass, like, the black lines were, like, black leaded looking, and it really, it really was, dark. It was opaque. Now, I just did an Amazon lookup of what I paid for, my tape, and something interesting has happened. And, I'm wondering if there's a vinyl shortage or something. Because when I click on the product, I bought the last time I bought this was April 1st, April Fool's Day. I'm like, joke's on me. Um, for this vinyl tape. Now, what I paid for it, it is the 2 inches wide, 36 yards in length. So if we want to
I think that
convert it,
sounds similar.
all right, $10.39 US.
I'm using
Okay.
Australian dollars, so what's 80?
Still 80,
80
60,
it's about
60.
50 US, which is
It's
ridiculous.
still, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I have to say though,
to-
I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like to buy stuff in person. So that probably didn't help my cause either, but I was like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, vinyl tape. And it was the only place in my city, which again is, I live in the most isolated capital city in the world. I'm not in Sydney or Melbourne where there's going to be a plethora of options. So
Mhm.
I can get it in person. I'm just going to do that. But yeah, I was like, I'd be keen to compare what the printing cost would be to the tape cost given the Australia tax on everything.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about that today. Like watching your videos gave me an idea for a video where you kind of made me want to redo my front panels. They're like, they're like 3, 4 years old. I forget the video, 3 years old. Um, and I would like to, not that there's anything wrong with, they still look amazing. It's just that get little gap. So I was like, maybe I'll do like one of those like vlog style videos where we go to the place and we talk it out. And the price, you're right. I want to know. I should have asked them what the price would be to print the border. But real quick on this vinyl tape. So April of this year, $10. Right now on Amazon, $21 for the same roll of tape.
Wow.
I've never paid more than $10 for this roll of tape. Why all of a sudden is the tape so high? Although maybe it's been selling out. Because one of the things that I've learned, as soon as I made the video and showed people like magnetic tape and stuff, I couldn't get magnetic tape for a while because it was all sold out.
Yeah.
So when it was available, it was weeks and weeks before it was available again. I just bought a bunch of it, and I still have the magnetic tape, but I didn't realize that it was going to be like, as popular as it was to have stuff sold out. And I'm wondering if like the same
I think it's
thing
like
is happening with
Uber
the vinyl tape
on Amazon,
like
like surge pricing.
search price. Yeah, bullshit. This is stupid. But yeah, the vinyl tape is way cheaper here. And that's one of the we'll go into the disadvantages real quick because it's 8:30, but you know what? Screw it. We'll go over. Who cares? We got some good information. We'll cut it up and make a video and stuff out of it because a lot of learning from this live stream. And let's see, we got Loomies, and Commander Green said, "Hey, Loomie, all right, it got popular. They caught on." That's right, Blitz. It did get popular because I'm seeing more and more of the big things that I see through my Amazon affiliates. The lights, like every day somebody's buying those lights, and yeah, the magnetic tape and the vinyl tape. But this vinyl tape, I don't know, like your hardware store, because there is a difference between this vinyl tape and like what people are thinking about it as electrical vinyl tape, because it's different. This is thicker. It's not like that shiny thing, and the adhesive is way better than than like the electrical tape that you use, because it's not meant to stay on for that. It's supposed to be like just a patch.
Yeah, and it is actually handy to have that vinyl tape, because with my glass cabinets, with the lighting, because the base bit at the bottom, I don't know if you can see this black bit, that's like wooden. So what we actually did was we drilled a hole down and out to pass the cables through. And I had used that electrical tape to just tape the wires across the side of the cabinet. And it is a very different kind of a tape, and it unpeels very easily as well. So you've reminded me, because I always said, I should use the last little bit of that vinyl tape to redo the tape along the bottom of the glass cabinets, because I feel like that adheres a lot better than what that electrical tape does.
It definitely does. So some of the disadvantages, and then we'll get to the advantages, and then we'll wrap it up. But I think it's important to go through some of the things that you learned, good and bad, and get some of those misconceptions out there, because there was someone who made a video that was, I felt like they were trying to bash this stuff. I'm not going to name names, but it was a long time ago. I'm trying to forget, but I'm a Greek, and Greeks have a trouble forgetting things. Helen knows.
Fact. I know.
Us two Greeks, it's hard to forget things.
Well, this is the thing, because I watched
let
that
it go.
video, and it's like this woman and her complaint video, and I'm like, well, hello, I'm the woman, and it wasn't a complaint video, mate. It wasn't I got annoyed at that as well, and I wrote a comment, and everyone else's comments got acknowledged except for mine, because I was like, mate, it's not a complaint video. But also, as I said before, like, people are going to do these projects to suit their budgets. So if people want to go a route where they're not putting acrylic, or they're using different materials, like, that's their option. Like, my view is if you're happy with that, like, that's cool. Like, I personally, as I said, like, I know I've seen some people use the bed sheets. I'm like, I don't know if that's what
Yeah.
I'd use. But if you're proudly
Yeah.
presenting this display case you've made, I'm like, I'm not, if I don't like, I'm not commenting. I'm going to scroll on, like, because you've gone to
Yes.
the effort, you're happy. That's what matters. At the end of the day, if you're happy with what you've produced and you're happy with the materials you've used, I think that's the main thing. And I don't see it as my place to then dump on that person because that's not what I do or I don't like it. Like, that's not my business. If you want to have, you know, party streamers as your backdrop, then do that. If that's what you love,
Yeah.
like, that's up to you. Like, that's not my
Exactly.
business. It's not my display. So I just don't understand this thing in the community where people will excitedly present something and you've got this community of people that then just want to dump on it. Like, just scroll on. If
Yeah.
you've got nothing positive or constructive to add, I'm just not about that. So that video is best forgotten because as I said, I was mentioned in it and I was like, well, that's not even the point of my video. And if that's what you want to take away, like, it's not worth it.
Well, the other thing I want to point out a couple things. I felt like I'm not the type of person that likes. I don't like confrontation, and I take things to heart. So like it's more like a hurt thing. And when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, they're talking about my video and they're talking about my stuff, but not directly. Anyway, couple of things I real quick I'm going to address. Acrylic. It's not $650 for fucking acrylic.
No.
You can
it's
get
not.
a Home Depot. You can get three front panels already cut for $40 a piece. And then you would just need the 2 side panels. So, yeah. The other thing is, I specifically made my video not using a lot of tools. Basically, if you want to cut your own acrylic, which now I'm saying if you can get it cut by a professional, don't do. The only real tool I used was an X-Acto knife and a acrylic knife and an iron because you needed to iron the thing and maybe measuring things. But you should have some of those hanging around. You don't have to buy like a shit ton of tools. And I purposely made that video so you didn't have to do. But I also added some things that if you wanted to use the tools, you could do the tools. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, and also do your research like Helen did. Figure out what you want to set it up because you will come out with a better case in the end if you do a little bit of research. So some of these disadvantages. The first one, big one, because a lot of people ask me about price and what it cost me, but your video starts off with prices will vary. Yes, because what I paid for here in the US in Philadelphia is not going to be the same as what Helen paid in Australia, as you notice by the vinyl tape difference. That is freaking crazy.
Right,
It's like a $40 USD difference, not just the Australian difference, a $40 USD difference. And it can even differ from me here in Philadelphia to somebody in like a remote part of like Illinois or Georgia, or they don't have a big city that has plastic place around it, or some places only have like a Home Depot if you're lucky, or you have your corner hardware store. So when you were doing your research, you found out about the prices varying. So like, how did you like approach that? Were you discovering it as you went?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, when prices do, I wanted to say that just because I had other collectors in Australia, like, they've seen my video and they've been like, right, an Aussie's done it. I feel like I've got a bit of a more local template to replicate. And people were like, oh, well, I can't get mine as cheap as yours. And I'm like, well, like, it's never going to be the same price. Like, as I said, I was very fortunate. I had a friend who was able to help me with some of the supplies. So did I potentially get some things a little bit cheaper? Like, maybe. I just paid the price because the biggest thing for me was when I ballparked the build, I was looking at this case being around, I think it was 950 Australian dollars. I think maybe that's 600 US versus what was a modular case going to be for, I think the equivalent is for DF20s, but also what were glass cabinets going to be, because I'd seen glass cabinets and they, well, first weren't going to give me the height that I wanted, but a glass cabinet was going to be something like $2,000. It's going to get shipped from the other side of the country. So is that going to be even in condition when it arrives? But then I've got to do the lights and the vinyl to it. So I looked at it overall and went, I budgeted it out. I went, I'm happy to pay that. But I think that's the biggest thing I wanted to share, because some people were trying to say, oh, people build these and they're not transparent about the cost and they're not really cheaper than modular case. And I'm like, well, no, it is. Because in my video, I put up what I paid for everything. I was like, I got nothing to hide here. But that was my biggest thing, that, you know, as well. And if you're going to the same plastics place, you're building a rapport with them. They may then give you a little bit of a discount. Fair enough, because if you're a loyal customer, that's what happens. So this is where I just wanted to say, like, it's like, just because I've made it for this much, maybe you can do it cheaper, but maybe it's a bit more expensive to you, because if you're going to a shop as a one-off, you're not going to get some of those advantages as people who are repeat customers that go in there all the time and are regular buyers.
Yeah, and when I saw how much it costs for even an AUD, like $1,900 for a Modu case, for you're close to where they're built, right? You're like Singapore, right there. Like, why 1,900 Australian? What the hell? Like,
and that's the thing. Singapore's the same distance as like Sydney is from me, so I'm like, okay, whatever.
And like, when people ask me about price now, I just tell them this is what I pay, but it might be different. Like, I tell them that it's probably going to be different because, for example, the hanging cases, the aluminum cases that are similar to Modu cases that I show you how to make. For me, I made them. It's $100 cheaper. For somebody living in the UK where they can get the aluminium cheaper, it's going to be cheaper. My friend Scott Taylor, who is building his own garage shelf now and is going to, I believe, he was looking at making a Modu case, and he was talking about he could have saved a lot more money. The other thing about like materials and getting it manufactured by someone like Modu case, and I like Modu case, guys. If you're going to get a Modu case, get a Modu case. You don't have to do this. It doesn't matter to me. I want you to have like the display that makes you happy is like the whole key. But the materials I used compared to like the Modu case, they're higher quality because I had like, that's what I have. Like, that's what like the wood I used is full like pine for those cases. It's upholstery grade velvet. It's not just like a sticker that you stick on the thing. So when you're looking at something where that Helen and I are building, our materials won't be exactly like if you're making the Modu case style case from this thing. You're going to have higher quality materials than you would get from something like that. And like Helen used a different background. So like the back panels are different. They're going to be a little bit more expensive because you're using metal. They're going to last a lot longer.
And this is my thing with I have to say, I just have to, like, I ummed and ahed about Modu cases for so long, and the thing that I just couldn't do, their light system, I'm sorry, like, you're paying all that much money and the lights can't be dimmed, but then you have that connector that hangs like a, can insert word you'd like to, and people, and I have to say, when I saw Bob's collection in person, that wasn't the thing that drew my eye, but with time I did ask him about it, because that's what gets me, is like, for the price you're paying, you've got little connectors and things hanging, and I'm going, surely you could have a bigger light channel that the connector could sit into, because you're paying this premium price, and I'm looking at little connector hanging here, connector hanging in the middle, and it just really, it took away from the premium aspect for me. And as I said, I wanted dimmable lights like I have for the rest of my cabinets. But yeah, like I've seen them in person now. Like they're a beautiful case. They're a good option. But people
They
talking
definitely are.
about oh, this is so much more work. Like you've still got to assemble those
It's
mochi
not.
cases. Like there's
Oh my
people
God,
doing whole
yes.
videos about, oh, I didn't really get good instructions and here's how I did it. Like I've heard people say they've spent a whole weekend to build, 8 mochi cases, which is
Yeah.
2 of these, and it's a nightmare. I'm sitting there with an Allen key and I hate my life. Like let's not pretend that there's not assembly required with mochi cases. And then if stuff's
Yeah.
missing, like how long are you waiting to get the replacement parts to come in? Like
Yeah.
there's
So
pros
there
and cons to everything.
the well, and one of the other things that you brought that up with like having missing parts, I'm like, if I pay like for me it would be 12 or 1300 for 3 Maji cases, which is the equivalent of what I have. What if they come and there's a scratch or like something damage to it, and I paid all this money, and sure, you could get it replaced, but it still has to come all the way across the globe to get here. Um, like I don't know, if I make the mistake, not that big of a deal. Like I built it. I have a little bubble here. I got a little scratch there, right? Is that how you also feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's your mistake, I think you're a bit more understanding and forgiving. But if you're buying a product at a premium price, I know what I'm like. I'd want it to be perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my view of it. If I'm paying all that money to you, I don't want to get it and a panel's missing, screws are not there, a light doesn't work, I don't have good instructions. That's all stuff that would really annoy me.
So the second thing that you had on your disadvantages, I didn't even think of, and because I wouldn't even if I had Maji case. So it is resale value. Even if I had Maji cases, I'm like, would I even sell them? It'd be a pain in the ass to ship them because you have to take them apart and put them in a box, and hopefully the acrylic doesn't get like damaged on the way. But that is an interesting point. Like, yeah, the resale value on the garage shelf, if you go on Amazon, which I will not Amazon, if you go on the if you're willing to go on Facebook Marketplace, you can get one of these garage shelves for really cheap. Like I've seen them for 40 or 50 bucks that people are like, we had these, I don't need them anymore, barely used them, want to sell them. So resale value.
Yeah, because
What
I
made you
think,
think about resale value? I'm
well,
curious.
because I was having a back and forth with the Aussie collector I mentioned earlier, who was like, "Oh, I can't get mine as cheap as yours. I'm not really sure. Maybe I want to get mochi cases." And
Uh-huh.
he kind of said, "Oh, well, if I want to get rid of it, like I think it's easy to sell mochi cases." And it got me thinking, because I mean, I didn't consider that because I'm not building this thinking one day I'm not gonna collect and I'll get rid of all this stuff. But I was thinking about it and I was like, well, a mochi case, it's a name product. And I think the way they're constructed, you could take a section and pack it away and take that off. Whereas if I was going to sell this, I'd have to take the whole thing apart and either rebuild it at someone's house or they would have to rebuild it themselves. So is that as an attractive proposition? And in general, I just think selling anything nowadays is really hard. And I just think if you have a
Mhm.
doubt as to whether you're going to keep collecting or you want to keep any of this stuff, like don't do it. Like think about it and wait, because I just don't see you're going to sell either at a loss. But I was thinking about it going, well, Monja Case is a product that collectors know. And I think they would, in theory, be a little bit easier to transport. If you had a van or something with the space, you could just put each section in and drive away. Whereas this, particularly the shelving unit, things aren't screwed in. You can't exactly lift it out and move it. Like stuff's going to move, rattle around. Like you'd have to take the acrylic panels
Yeah.
off. I'd have to take it apart and rebuild it. And I don't know that someone wants to do that. Is that going to be problematic? Are they going to expect me to have to rebuild it for them? So this is just one of those things that I considered, that if you were in a position where you're like, I want to get rid of this, I don't think a garage shelving display cabinet's going to be an easier thing to sell, because I think as well you've got modular case collectors who want more cabinets, but they don't want
Yeah.
to wait. So you've got that advantage of, if someone's like, well, I've got a bunch of DF120s, I want more. If I come along and I'm selling them secondhand, someone's like, cool, I don't have to wait 18 months to get these from Singapore. Like, I can drive to this person's house and have them straight away.
That does make a lot of sense, especially if you're gonna get out of the collecting biz. But moving on to the last two, I'm gonna clump together, and I don't know if I missed a fifth disadvantage. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. You not having to possibly buy the tools and having the skills to do it. And I will play devil's advocate and say, now you had your brother solder and learning how to solder. That's a lot. That's some tools that you have to get. Yes, but really, you just need well, no, you used aluminum panels. Well, anyway, I only used a razor knife and
see, this
an
is
iron
the thing.
and
Like,
stuff.
I chose to do those lights.
Yeah,
you could get other lights that
great.
don't require soldering. So if you take away soldering, what tools did we use? Like, we used a hacksaw to cut the ACM channel profile, the channel profile for the light. So we used a hacksaw. Same thing, we used a box cutter. We probably used some scissors, and I used my credit card to lay down the acrylic, the vinyl tape.
Can we all
so
get your credit
it wasn't
card,
like I used all these expensive tools. And I thought it was interesting because some people talked about, I bought all these tools, and I was kind of going, like, what and why? Like, I don't see what elaborate tools people were buying. Because, as I said, if you took out that lighting element, I'm the same as you. Like, a hacksaw is like, I don't know, $15 at the hardware store. I think most people would have a hacksaw or something similar. But I'm also like, if you don't have it, like, I don't know if this is a thing in the US, like in Australia, we have things called tool libraries, where you can, in your community, they might have a tool library and you can borrow tools for the weekend for projects.
Oh, no, we do not have that. That sounds...
Yeah, so it's it's a bit of a thing that's emerging here in this sort of, sort of spirit of sharing, and does everybody need everything? So in our local areas, like, there are things like tool libraries that you can go and borrow. I need a drill, I need a whatever, you can borrow them. I think you might pay like a membership, but then you can borrow stuff. But also, I'm just like, ask your friends. I'm so not above going, hey, does anybody have a whatever I can borrow for the weekend? Like, a lot of people would have resources that are just sitting around in a shed. Why not ask if someone has the thing you need and if you can borrow it?
Yeah, and you can do what my neighbors do. They come over here and they borrow my tools. So, there's always, and the skill thing. Yes, there are some things that in this that require skill. But I remember when you first were thinking about doing it, and I was like, "No, Helen, you can do it. Trust me. I promise you." And I think the key for that, yes, it's good to have skill, especially DIY stuff. If you're good at that, it'll be an advantage to have. I agree. I think the patience is the key, and I think that's what with everything that you did, starting from your planning, and then going through all your steps. I think that's what you clearly exhibited, the patience while making this case. Also, you had a good support system with your brother and your friend with the signer, so I think that's amazing.
And I have to say, I think having a spare pair of hands is helpful, because for me, this case is huge. Like, I am not a tall person, so if I was trying to like mount backing panels on a ladder, horribly wrong. Whereas having even just that extra set of hands of, because we actually also did a dry run of all putting all the panels in place. Do they fit? Are they okay? Before we started mucking around with tapes. So just having that extra pair of hands to go, right, we're mounting this in place. We're doing this. How does that look? You've got someone to bounce off. I think it's, phone a friend if you can. Like, as I said, I'm really lucky. My brother is very handy. I ask him how he knows all this stuff, and he's like, I don't know, I just know. And I'm like, well, where was I when you were learning all this stuff, mate? What was I doing? But I think it is handy to have an extra pair of hands, because if you're doing a bigger case like this, you're not scratching an acrylic panel or an ACM panel because you're trying to go up a ladder and do things on your own. So I do think that it helped a lot having that second person.
So real quick, running down the advantages, because I'm looking at everything. Your 10 lessons learned real quick. You said pay attention to your shelving unit, meaning which type you're getting. If you're getting the one with the flat front or the holes already in the frame. Not having enough magnetic tape because of doubling up and not knowing your not knowing like the depth from like the grommets and how the shelves are, the vinyl tape frustrations. And then again, talking about the magnetic tape. The one thing I want to bring up real quick, in your video, you talk about I didn't realize your acrylic fell off of your display.
So
you didn't watch my video from September 22nd or September 21st, 2022, where I said super glue them. But who would have? Nobody was watching my live streams.
Hang on. No, Costa. You have to remember that this was at the point where the Greek rage was on high. So before I started this project, I sent my brother your videos and I said, do you think you could help me do this? And he didn't watch the videos. And I kept saying, have you watched the videos? Have you watched? Yeah, it's fine. So he arrives and I said, have you watched the videos? No, you're the project manager. Just tell me what to do. And I'm like, oh, this is going to go horribly wrong. But so I knew to glue the magnets, right?
Yeah.
We had reached peak Greek rage. And I said to my brother, we need to glue these. And he's like, oh, I'm so sick of what Costa did and what Joao did. I don't want to hear this. Like, look at the specs of these magnets. It's fine. And I'm like, it's not the magnets, it's the adhesive. And I was very mindful of, we're heading into an Australian summer. Where I live is probably comparable to like Nevada and Arizona as far as heat in summer. And my room here gets a lot of sun to the point where I've actually like just literally gotten the windows tinted to reduce the heat in this room. So I was like, I want to glue this. This is what, because Joao had said to me as well, glue them.
Yeah.
He would not listen to me. He would not glue them. It's going to be fine. Trust me. I'm like, okay. I just reached the point where also I was like, I need this to be done and I need you to be out of my house because I need to not see you for a month because I'm, so we didn't as much as I wanted to. And I was nervous about them to the point where luckily I was putting like a quilt in front of the display case in case anything fell. And we got into
That's what
February.
was in the video? That's what I saw in the video?
It's like it's like a quilt on the ground because I was so concerned that something was going to come off because it's hot here. And I was like you, I wasn't trust the adhesive. So it hit February. We were like in the 110 degrees all the time. And I came home from work one day and the magnets were on the shelf, but the acrylic panels weren't. And that's where I took that video to send my brother. And I'm like, this is why you glue the panels. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I'm like, I can because people who did this told me glue the panels. So then he came back and we glued them, but we could have avoided that. But as I said, the Greek rage was so on high that he just was like, looking up the specs of the magnetic tape and no, you don't need to glue them. And I'm like, I just would rather have glued them from the start. And because once we glued them, like they're not going anywhere. And it's been since February and we're now almost, you know, in November and the panels have been rock solid.
Yeah.
But I know, but I wasn't being listened to. And hence we had the catastrophe of the panels falling, which could have been avoided. Could have been avoided.
And luckily you had the quilt down there because they would have at least cracked. And the other thing that amazes me is how strong the magnet is compared to the adhesive that they're using. Like it's I like the brand that I use uses 3M adhesive, and you think, oh, 3M gotta be good.
2 seconds, let me, because I 30-meter roll of tape, 3M electronics. Like this is meant to be a step up from 3M tape. Sorry, I don't really know that that's going to be all that visible,
that looks,
but that's a big 30-meter roll of tape I bought, and the specs were all, yeah, you can mount all this stuff. It's so heavy duty. It's amazing. But as I said, the magnets were on the shelf. That wasn't the problem. It was the adhesive. And this was my, I was hoping this wouldn't, but as I said, I had that concern because we were coming into the hottest months of the year. This room gets really hot. And I was like, I'm just laying this quilt down for better and worse. And as I said, unfortunately it happened. But yeah, it was just so funny because like, I can't believe this happened. I'm like, oh, really? Because I told you this would happen. And that's why I wanted to glue them from the start. But I used that Gorilla Glue gel stuff that you had recommended. And
it's excellent.
I left it to cure for the 24 hours because I was like, no, we're going to do this right. We're not going to rush this because as well those side panels are huge and I did use thinner acrylic on the side panels to minimize the weight a little bit but I was like, we're doing this by the book, we're doing exactly how it says on the packet, we're leaving it to cure for 24 hours. And once I did that, like as I said, they're not going anywhere. And it was annoying because what I did was on my side panels and the top of the top panel is because you've got the two flat ridges. I did double strips of magnetic tape on those. Again, trying to go, well, I can reinforce it. If that top panel falls, it's coming from height. I don't want that. So even, having two things of magnetic tape, it was the adhesive. So glue them in place, let them cure for the 24 hours. Because as I said, it's been more than 6 months, and I went away to the US, I did all this stuff, and it's been perfect. I've had no problems with it since.
And another quick tip, if you want to, have them, gluing them is great. If you want to have more surface area for your magnetic tape, use the 1-inch thick wide one. The more surface area with the magnet, the stronger it will be for it to hold. And as we're coming to the end, because everybody's going on, I think is going over to Sixth Scale Mafia's thing. I love you, Anthony. Your advantage video, the number one thing, which is the timing, how long it takes to get a display case from like Maji Case. So is it the same time in since you're closer, or is it you still have like a year, 2 years?
It's the same. This is what gets me because I know a collector here, I won't say who, but they have Moji cases. They wanted more Moji cases, and they were told, we've sped up the time, it's so much quicker. And it passed a year, and they were like, just can I have a refund? So I'm going, there's been all this talk of we've sped up the process, it's going to be quicker. I've just heard too many stories from collectors who, next shipment, next month, and every time you talk to them, they're still waiting for the Moji cases. So it's still more than 12 months. And I mean, the person I was talking to, it was the start of this year where they were like, it's been 12 months. And I just said to Brian, look, I just want a refund because I don't want to wait any longer for these. So it's still a huge wait time. Whereas, as I said, I took a long time to research. But when I had all the parts in place, again, if I hadn't run out of the magnetic tape, time-wise, we're talking a weekend. And I bought most of my stuff locally. Like, the one thing I bought from interstate was the magnetic tape because I found a shop in Sydney that sold big 30-meter rolls. So economically, that made more sense.
Yeah.
And that was the 3M electrical.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And the adhesive still sucks. But that was the most economical way because I'd looked at the tape you'd used. I couldn't find anyone in Australia that stocked it. To buy the small rolls was going to add up, whereas this was kind of the right thickness. And the 30-meter roll, I was like, okay, great. I'm getting, I think it was 30 meters for something like $45 Australian, which felt like a good rate. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
this
a great
was why
rate.
I went, I'm going with this mold. I bought 2 rolls and I needed a little bit over 2. And again, that's probably on me because I did the double rows at the top of the top front panel and the side panels, like the top and the bottom of the side panels, because they've got those 2 flat ridges. I just thought I'll do a double, which you don't have to do, but that was my own, again, miscalculation because I measured all the surfaces and I never, the whole having to do 2 layers of tape like that hadn't occurred to me. So me going, oh, I'll get 2 rolls and I'll have all this extra and look at me go. And then it's like, oh no, like you have to put multiple layers because of the plates that you manipulated are now made wider from the bolts. And that's all the stuff you learn.
It's a learning process. And then if you want to make another one, because there are several, several people out there have built multiples of these, which as you learn, you build better. Like Henry 1/6 Syndicate's a great example. He's built, I think, like 3 or 4 of them, and each time he finds new things that that he improved upon, and then we talk it out and we tell the community, and it's great. Which
See,
that's
a brilliant thing in itself because, sorry to go back, but the person who was critical of this does all these videos showing off amazing things they've done, but never tells you how to do them. And I'm like, are you helping or are you showing off? Because that's why I have to be honest, when I came back from the US and I saw how many new channel members you had, I was so happy because I'm like, Costa is providing so much value to this community. And for me, that's the kind of channel I want to support because so many people look at this kit bash I did, look at this thing I did. But if you ask them any questions, they don't want to share information with you. And I'm like, if someone asks me an element of my build, like that's a compliment. Like, why wouldn't I help someone? Like, I've got mine. They can't take that away from me. Why wouldn't I help someone make theirs as good as it can be? Like, it's just doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't want to help people. But unfortunately, that's where we are. And I think, the fact that everyone is, we've got this big community of people that have done this and are sharing and providing information. Like, I love it. This is the element of the community that I think is great. Like, we're supporting people, we're helping. Like, you didn't know who I was. I was some random chick from Australia, like going, hello, I'd like to check that this vinyl tape that I can buy at this shop is like your vinyl tape in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And you always responded, you always helped. And I'm like, isn't that amazing that we can do all this and help each other? Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
that's how I
that's
see
one
it.
that's one of the advantages that you list in your video is the community support. And yeah, did I think I was gonna end up doing that stuff? No. Do I like it? I love helping people. Like, that's why when I went to college for pre-med, even though I probably was more into the entertainment world and acting and stuff. And I was just doing it to please my parents.
I was going to say, was that the Greek family influence?
Yeah. I was like, I was the first one to go to college. So there's that. So, but I picked something that I liked in the sense that, you know, I liked medical stuff, but I loved help. It was the helping people aspect of it. And through college, I worked in a hospital in the emergency room.
Oh wow.
I then I was on a transplant team. I was able to help, you know, with organ and tissue transplants. Even my current job, when I moved from the Midwest, I went to St. Louis after college for a few years. And when I came back here, the company I work for, we do compensation and pension exams for veterans when they come out of the service. So it's another way to give back to people. And I'm always finding myself in that space with whatever I do. And my wife also does, like, she volunteers we have what we call community fridges here, where this
Oh yeah.
company they there's a fridge at the end of our block. We fill it up every week. The supermarket here gives us stuff, and she does that. She likes to help. She's a very, and like, that's the family. My daughter, she had this idea of making bags that had like socks and toothpaste and stuff for the homeless people. So instead of, when we would stop at a corner, we would have all these bags in our car, and we'd give them a bag. And instead of
Oh, that's
you know,
cool.
stuff that would help them out. Yeah. So helping people, I know it's toys. I know it's this is like display, and it's about collecting, but what people don't see with collecting is that there is a mental health aspect of it, that this is something that people enjoy. It's an escape. It's like going to the movies, but you're here with your stuff, and a lot of people, like us Sixth Scale people, we like to pose things. We like to just play with the toy, and it makes us feel good. It takes us away from the shit that we have to deal with every day. And that was a really big thing that you put in that video, is having community support, because we're nothing, we're nothing without the people that we help and the people that help us. And that's what the world and just civilization should be. You help your neighbor, you help your and that Greeks. I'm gonna get into Greeks, because my wife has pointed this out, that no matter how we feel about somebody or whatever, we will, if they are our enemy, we will help them out. Like, we will, if they are down, we will lift them up, because that's throughout history. You will see that, especially in World War II. Like, my grandfather would tell me stories. Anyway, I'm going on these tangents, but community and help and helping others, it's very important to me. I know it's important to you, and it makes what we do with our collecting like fun interaction. That's why hanging out at NYCC with all these guys and all these people, because it wasn't just guys. It was
No, no.
it was
See, this is
men, women. It was everybody, baby. We need to get more. You know,
there's more female
more of
collectors
that.
than we think. I'm so
I know,
convinced
and
of
we need to
this.
get them to come out and
I know.
join us.
That's why I started my channel, because whenever I take a break from YouTube, I then become very analytical of YouTube and how I give my time. And I think through COVID, with you know, working from home and with the time difference, I would have a lot of these streams on in the background, and I'd always see these panels of blokes, and that's no disrespect, but I'm like, there's female collectors. Where are they? And then I was like, well, you're a female collector. What are you doing? And here I am. Do I know what I'm doing? No. I'm trying. But I am then hopeful that we will see more female collectors doing content creation, because I'm like, I know they're out there. Like, there's so many female friends that I have who are gamers or whatever, like some of these hobbies that people think are very male dominated. I'm like, no, like there's women out there. I'm like, I just, I don't want to get into this whole thing, but I just feel like, I know for me, some of the spaces I've gone into, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like this is a space for me, or that the women folk are particularly wanted. I just feel like you just got to create the right kind of space or environment.
Yeah, and
I just think, I think most of my stuff I've had with YouTube, I'd say is 99.5% been very positive and people being very encouraging, which is brilliant. So that's why I'm doing this. Like, do I think I know the most? Do I think I'm amazing at making videos? Do I think I'm a great presenter? Not really, but I'm having a crack, and I just feel like if I can do it, anyone can. So like I love seeing like Luminara in the chat here. I know she does streams. You got Natalie G doing streams. I know Mandy Burton does some streams. Like I just want to see more of us being out there and being a bit more present, because I think there's a lot more female collectors than what people think.
yeah, I totally agree. Like, and it's okay to have your own space. Like, if like, there are so many groups and stuff that we can be a part of, and then you can have that space that the female collectors need to talk about their stuff. It's okay, and nobody, male, female. I love the fact that the more and more getting into this to see how how really diverse everything is. And I love it because I love different perspectives, having it global. That is awesome. See how other cultures and countries deal with, like, Europe. And I don't even know if it's okay, the same with you guys, but dealing with like the VAT and imports and
That's
it's
crazy.
just crazy. And then I feel like we're entitled here in the US because we're like, I complained for a second, and I shouldn't have. And I wasn't complaining. I was like, oh my God, it's 200. Catwoman is $200 more here in the US. What the hell? And then, freaking Europe, you're paying that an extra like 100, 200 for every figure.
I laughed because bless everyone's heart. Oh my God, the markup. And I'm like, oh, honey, welcome to the rest of the world. Because
I felt
like pop culture's getting their stuff from Sideshow. So every single figure we buy has the markup. And I'm laughing because I'm like, I'm hoping this is somewhat educational for other people as to, what collecting is like for the rest of the community. Because we don't all have the advantage of, we're getting it from the number one distributor and it's in our currency. Like, this is the thing, like the Aussie dollar, it fluctuates so much and it's sucked for a while now. So, I'm paying 35% extra, even if I go direct through Sideshow. We have a 10% goods and services tax. The shipping's going to be a bomb. So like a baseline figure at Pop Culture is around 500 Australian dollars. Like, that's what you're looking at for a pretty standard release nowadays. So, like, this is the thing that's interesting. And I like knowing that perspective from different collectors, because I was talking to a collector in the Netherlands and they were saying, I think it's going to be cheaper for me to get it through Kit because they're not going to charge me the VAT. And I'm going, like, that's crazy to me. Like, Yoast is in your country, but it's cheaper for you to get it from a guy in China. Yeah, seriously. They were saying it would be cheaper.
Oh my God.
Because it's like 21% plus 14 euros or something like that. So that's crazy to me. But yeah, I laugh. Oh, I'm in America. Where can I get it? I'm like, have we not answered that question many, many times? But there's a meme that I laugh where it's like, sorry, this is probably going to offend people. It's like how Americans see the world and it's the globe and it's just the US. Like, there's no other countries on the map. And I'm like, oh, I think there are some people that are like that a little bit. But sadly, this is the thing. If you want the stuff, not everything is easily attainable for everyone. And I think it's going to be an interesting process for collectors in the US, because I think they're going to get a bit of a flavor as to what the rest of us have kind of had. Because we don't, like, I can't directly buy an artisan figure from Pop Culture. Like, that's not an option for me. So if I want an artisan figure, I'm either having to go through one of the resellers, or I'm having to play Sideshow Bingo and have to go through paying the tax, exchange
Ugh,
rate, the
yeah, the
crazy
extra.
postage, all that. So it's how we're all dealing with it. Sorry, tangent.
No, that's okay. And just real quick, the three other advantages you said, these two could probably go together with the shelf height and the look. You can make it look the way you want. So, and that's what you did. You can pick how high you want it. You can pick how wide you want it. You can pick how deep you want it. Just remember, I think people forget that, like, it doesn't matter the dimensions of your shelf. You can do this with any shelf. And the biggest one is the last, well, advantage is the cost. And yes, it does cost. It really is cheaper. It just might, the difference in the cost between this and like use Magicase again is how the advantages of where you live, basically. So, but I the whole community support is the biggest thing, and I love everybody that I've dealt with. Everybody's been super support. I mean, like you said, 99.5%. There's that 0.5% that are like always tend to comment on something, and it's the same comment from years later. It's like years of the same comment, and the biggest one is that I don't blink in the video.
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
sorry.
If that's what
I
you have to
didn't
complain
blink.
about, mate.
They're like, yeah, they're like, you didn't blink. But I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing back then. Like, that was the first time I ever did a whatever video. But like, to wrap things up, I love your series. You guys, if you're watching this on the replay, please, or if you're watching it now, go check out Helen's display case series. It's very informative.
Thank you.
There's a link to her channel is in the description. Is there anything you want to like end with on the garage shelf stuff? Like something that sticks out that you might want somebody to know before they jump into this?
Yeah, I mean, I always think I'm probably an overthinker, but I do think there's an advantage to taking some time and planning out your build and doing some research. Like I'm always talking about Facebook group searches, people's friends. Like if you want to do this, but you're not sure the approach you want to take, like go on Facebook, do a search for, garage display, and just look at people's photos. Like take some time to study, well, what do I like about this one? What don't I like so much? What elements could I combine? Because I really think, you are in control of your own destiny and you can make this however you want. And that was where I was talking about. You can make it fit your budget. And I think I've seen some people
True.
that have done the sort of bed sheets, but they've made it look amazing. So I think spend some time to plan, do your research. And I would just say, just spend the time or that little bit of money to get things done as professionally as possible. So if you are going to use the bed sheets, like really make sure you're spending the time to iron those out and get them looking great. Whatever you're going to do, as I say, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. But I think, yeah, have a look and see what people have done. There's so many examples out there. The way I've done it, the way Costa's done it, you can mod it and do it completely differently to suit the aesthetic you're going for or the materials that you want to use. But as I said, I just think there's so much info out there. So spend a bit of time to plan and research. And as I said, I even just mucked around with the shelf heights and sat with them and made sure I was happy with them before I then got panels cut and things done. So I think taking that time to plan and research should hopefully then mitigate any issues of I've changed my mind, I need to rebuy, I've hit an error. And just reach out to people. If someone has done something that you like, my motto is the worst is people say no or they don't answer, and I'll always shoot my shot, but I feel like most people will answer and will be helpful.
Yeah.
And if they're not, well, that says more about them than you, because I feel like most people will be more than happy to help. So reach out to people. I make a point of responding to all the comments I get on my videos or on Instagram where people are asking me about my build. So there's more than enough people that out there that are willing to help. So if you want to give it a go,
yeah.
plan, reach out to people, because you can do it. And as I said, if you're feeling a bit unsure like I was, like if you've got someone that is handy or knows, like don't be afraid to ask them for help. As I said, I think having my brother here just gave me that little bit of confidence to go, right, like we're going to nail this and it's going to be great. And it is. I'm really happy with it, despite my complaints about vinyl tape. As I said, once it's on there, you hardly notice them. So I would 100% do this again, have absolutely no regrets. I love the way it's come out. And as I said, I'm thinking about doing another one, so it obviously couldn't have been that bad of a process.
Well, thank you so much for, coming out. I didn't expect us to go 2 hours, but we had a lot of information to go through. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. What is coming up with your channel? What do you got going on?
Oh, look, good question. So I'm feeling a bit of pressure because my last couple of videos I think have done really well. So I did a video which was 10 years of Hot Toys collecting advice in 10 minutes. So I'm trying to work out what my channel is. What am I doing? So I think it might be something more in the advice space. So I've been trying to think of what I think is the next best thing. I was thinking it might be something about optimizing your display space or something like that. So I'm just trying to work out what is next. So something will come out in the next week or so, I hope.
I hear you. I have so many things in the fire that this past week I was crippled in the sense that I didn't know what to do, like what to do first, and I wasn't feeling creative and stuff. So yeah, doing this tonight and going to NYCC gets the juices revitalized. You talk to the people, you start feeling better and more creative. So hopefully, because I'm desperately need to get a video out. But what will I be working on? I don't know. I am going to I'm going to actually make these lights, the light things that I did live build. I'm gonna actually make a video for that. So that'll come out hopefully next week. I'm trying to work these things out. Randall's got a video that he's working on, which is great. I've got commercials that I'm working on for Points of Articulation, which will return next week. Next week's I am doing a live build next week. We are going to take the massive display that is hanging up over. It's massive. It's the one that's like a Modicase Max, I think you would call it, because it's the double. It's a 2040 aluminum. We're gonna put it all together because I have all the pieces. I need to put it together for the Batmobile from Jazz Inc. So that's what's going to go up there. And we're going to put it together next week. We're going to put supports
So you're going to have your Batmobile in a hanging display case?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wait, let's see if
I know the one you're talking about. I didn't realize. Maybe I just forgot that you're putting a vehicle in it. So that's impressive that it can hold dangerous? that white. I don't know.
I know. It's like, am I doing the wrong thing? Should I be worried about it falling? But it's been up there for 2 years.
I know people that have got vehicles on shelves, so obviously it's gonna happen. It's gonna be fine, I think.
Well, yeah, I think. Let's see. Here it is.
That's the one.
It also has been holding like all of it's held like several display cases within itself. It's held a lot of stuff. But we're going to put like extra supports in there and put it all together, put the lights in there. And I'm actually thinking about adding fancy lights in there too. Cool. Like the ones I have behind me. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Oh, now I'm back. Yay. So that's the live build next week. And then I think sometime this week I'm gonna go to IKEA and we're gonna try to do a hanging display case for under $75 that can hold up to 4 Hot Toys. So might even be able to do it for cheaper than that. Because yeah, so we'll do an IKEA hack. There's the you can't see it. Anyway, just check out the channel. I want to wait. What did Ghetto Yoda say? Hold on, I gotta go back to the. See, you're right. Like doing your own live stream is like sometimes can be tough. Buy a sheet of drywall too, just in case. No, I don't need to buy a sheet. You should see it. It looks good behind there. But yeah, the key to these hanging display cases is one, the French cleat. The French cleat is amazing. It distributes the weight. 2, make sure you get as many studs from your wall with the French cleat. Because if you don't, it's going to rip out of your drywall. Anyway, but yeah, Ghetto Yoda, I don't need drywall yet. Maybe I will.
I feel
we'll
like
see
drywall's
after.
a very American thing. So is the wall
Sheetrock.
not brick? Is it not
No.
brick?
No, it's made out of sheetrock. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
It's drywall. Yeah. I mean, our
Oh.
outer wall. So like the outer wall is covered by the drywall. So it's brick on the outside and then drywall as you come in.
The internal walls, really? Okay.
And then the internal the internal walls are just all framed out. Yeah, they're framed out wood with the drywall on it. The exterior wall is brick, but then we frame it out and put drywall over that. Some people like the exposed brick. It just depends on where you're at. But yeah.
We just like bricks in Australia. I don't think we're doing the drywall. Like my house is all like it's all brick.
Even the wall behind you?
Yeah.
Isn't that drywall? No, that's just painted brick.
They will either render or sheet the bricks, but it's funny because
that's what I'm talking about.
We sheet the brick. But the internal walls are the internal
walls are not brick. No,
see, my internal walls are brick. Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah, that's what I'm going. Is it just this is where I'm going? Oh, this is very different. I feel like we only use the drywall on like the renovation shows where they've got like build a house in a week and they use but like a normal house construction here is like it's brick. So the outside, so that behind me is actually an exterior wall. That's double brick. Okay. But then the interior walls are just single brick.
Yeah, our exterior walls are double bricked, or some use cinder block and then brick for the like so it's cinder block and then put like a facade of brick on the outside. But this house was built in 1870, I think.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so if you took out all the drywall, it's we're this is Philadelphia, baby. We're the birthplace of this country. But Curtis Booth has come in and he's like, no way, I missed most of this. I've been watching both of your videos trying to make my own shelf. I'll need to rewatch the first 2 hours that I missed later. Yes, you will. And then you can ask all the questions you want. We will answer them. So either of us, we're here to help. And Ghetto Yoda, that sounds like a huge pain in the ass having to deal with brick for to have every picture brick. You got to drill into the brick. You
can't see it, but because I'm an overthinker and I bought my house, and the biggest, because my mum being a Greek mum, she loves things that are ornate and gold and fancy, and I'm a very disappointing daughter because I don't like any of that stuff. But
very gaudy.
I have a lot of collectibles, and I didn't want to just start drilling holes in my walls because then they're my walls that I own. So picture hanging rails are amazing. So you put them under the it an eave? That sort of cornice eave, like whatever it is. And you just it's just a white rail. it's drilled into the wall, but that's really handy because you install that once. And then there's like hanging rails and hooks that you put. So then you can change the configuration, but you've just installed the one thing. So it's the wall that I'm facing, so you can't see it. Like I've got a whole bunch of picture frames and they're great because they're very flexible. But yeah, I bribe people to drill holes in my wall. I need to learn to do that.
It is rough drilling in brick. But on that note, I just want to thank everybody. Because I can't believe that the interior walls are brick. It's crazy because
I have
like,
one...
how do you can't like knock down a wall and then like make a room wider, you know?
Well, no,
anyway.
It's an undertaking. And that's the funny thing, because this room is a hexagon. Fun fact. And
what?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the people I bought this house from did a lot of modifications to it, which I'm grateful for because they made the layout a lot better. But where my door is, I think that's your dry sheet, because if you tap it, it feels very hollow. Because I originally wanted to do some pictures and stuff there, but I was like, I don't trust this. So now I've got the two detofs in front of it, but that's the only part of my house that's like that dry sheet or whatever it's called. Everything else is like brick.
That's crazy.
That's how we roll.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everybody for coming out and watching us, and for all those that stayed. I love you more. Don't tell the other people, but I love you guys more who are here right now. You guys are my favorite. But we will end with a nice little video to my channel subscribers. Thank you.